What's up everybody, my name is Vincent. Welcome to Cryptolution, where we talk about everything under the moon in the crypto universe. Today's Monday, November 24th. Now in today's dog video, I want to share with you that dog right now is entering the first stage of a relief rally. Now a relief rally is typically a rally that happens after a major capitulation, which we've actually seen in the market. But before we talk about this relief rally and what we could expect in dog Bitcoin's price and the charting analysis, let's look into why we saw a capitulation in the first place. I want to share with you that there is a major hedge fund that absolutely is very bearish around Bitcoin, especially Michael Saylor, MicroStrategy. And I just want to share with you that this was completely organized and it was happening all behind the scenes with JP Morgan. Yes, we're going to talk about it in this video really quickly before we talk about all the bullish data that I'm going to share with you for this relief rally. So let's go ahead and smash up that like button, subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to join us on X. Please be careful with any of the scammers down in the comments below. I'll never reach out via WhatsApp, Telegram, direct messaging, or email. So please be careful and invest safely. Guys and girls, let's get right into it. Okay, so right now, dog Bitcoin is roughly around 130 million market cap. It's up 7 to almost close to 8% in the past 24 hours. Now, the reason that's pumping is because also Bitcoin is pumping. It's up 1.7% in the past 24 hours. Now, when we see relief rallies, as much as things dump, meaning if Bitcoin dumps, everything dumps harder, the same thing could be said about things pumping. So if Bitcoin pumps, everything pumps harder, especially dog Bitcoin. So Bitcoin right now is hovering around 88,000. Now we need to talk about why this price of Bitcoin did capitulate. Now this has kind of been surfacing over the past weekend, okay? So over the weekend we saw that Senator Cynthia Lummis saw that JP Morgan Chase was ending bank ties with Strike CEO. Because apparently this happened out of nowhere, where the Strike CEO, aka Jack Mallers, all of a sudden found out that they are no longer going to be supported, at least for Strike. JP Morgan just wanted to end ties out of nowhere. And believe it or not, JP Morgan was actually on October 10th the reason why Bitcoin dipped, meaning we saw a major capitulation within the entire crypto market. Because at that time, they were selling roughly around $134 million worth of MicroStrategy stocks. Remember, JP Morgan, aka Morgan Stanley, is very bearish on Bitcoin. In fact, because they work with banks a lot, they don't want Bitcoin to succeed. And I remember not too long ago, they were talking about supporting Bitcoin and wanting to put Bitcoin into their portfolio and provide at least tools to allow their customers to buy Bitcoin. When we thought that was very bullish, really, it was what they were doing behind the scenes that was different from what they were saying. So I want to play this clip of how JP Morgan and Morgan Stanley has been manipulating the Bitcoin price in the past and how that's kind of happening right now. I'm going to share this clip with you in this moment.
On September 12th, Jamie Dimon says Bitcoin is a fraud. He says he'll fire any one of his traders buying Bitcoin. Bitcoin drops 24%. When Jamie Dimon speaks, people listen. People listen. So that weekend, we found out that the largest buyer of a Bitcoin fund that's in Europe that buys physical Bitcoin, right? The largest buyer was Morgan Stanley and JP Morgan. And that's not illegal. He says it's a fraud. It says you fire anyone that buys it. Yes.
And at the same time, his company is buying it.
His company is buying it.
It's just, so unethical.
Now that we've exploited JP Morgan, you can see that right now everybody's boycotting JP Morgan. And basically people who have JP Morgan accounts are closing their accounts and they're moving their funds away. So this is what's going on. It's JP Morgan versus MicroStrategy. But I think sooner or later this will be over. Why? Because right now we do have a potential December rate cut just right around the corner. Because maybe that's another reason why crypto is pumping. Maybe we've already liquidated all the leverage traders. Well, we can actually finally see some upside. So on Call Sheet, a prediction marketplace, now it's switched to around 75% chance that there could be a 25 basis point rate cut. Polymarket kind of sees the exact same thing, where 75%, same thing, says 25% basis point rate cut will happen. Everything just kind of happened within the past weekend. And the CME group went up to as high as 77%. And don't forget, on December 1st, which is just a few days away from now, it's going to be the end of quantitative tightening and the beginning of quantitative easing. Now let's look into the stablecoin market, because apparently over the weekend, we've actually seen on-chain volume dropping for all stablecoins. So what does that mean? That means stablecoins that were stored recently are now decreasing. And if they decrease, that means those stablecoins are being deployed to buy things, meaning they're no longer in the stables. They're now converting those stables for Bitcoin, Ethereum, or any other cryptocurrency out there. So that means the fear is now stepping away and people are buying back in since everything's on a discount. Now, as you can see from this specific chart by CryptoQuant, these are all the stable coins on exchange reserves. Now, you can see that I'm at an all-time high, roughly around $74 billion. And then over the past week, we've seen those stable coins being deployed back into assets, especially on Ethereum. So really, this is why I'm seeing that the crypto market, especially the meme coin market, is actually doing quite well today. I actually think that this is the very beginning of a relief rally, meaning we may have actually skipped all the capitulation, all the scary stuff, all the extreme fears, and now we could be experiencing that relief rally. Now, how long will the relief rally last for? I don't exactly know, but Dog Bitcoin still doing pretty good. It's still within the top 20 top market caps by meme coins, which I absolutely love. And by the way, it only has one tier 1 centralized exchange listing. Now, Dog is outperforming all the other Dog meme coins. And remember, Dog is the only Dog themed meme coin that's not reached over $1 billion market cap. Every other meme coin on this list has been over 1 to 2 even higher $1 billion market caps. And believe it or not, Dog actually has the largest exposure to Bitcoin's liquidity, which is over $2 trillion, while these other ones only have a few hundred billion or less than $100 billion in their native chain market cap, which is Ethereum and Solana. Dogecoin is a different player in itself because it's kind of its own blockchain, and that's roughly around, I think, over $20 billion at the time of this recording. Now let's look into the whale wallets. So basically, we're seeing that there's roughly around a total buy of around 120 million Dog tokens just within the top 100 wallets. There's a net accumulation of around 60 million tokens. Some people like to trade in and out, but most of the times we see the top 3 or 4 wallets that are in the top 100. These are mainly exchanges. They hold the most Dog exposure. And then I have to show you this, okay? So this is an updated chart. This is the top 15 meme coins with tier 1 centralized exchange listings. Have you noticed that Dog is the only one that has 1? Every single other meme coin on here has more than 5. That's crazy. This one only has, at least for Dog, only has 1. And we do know that Gemini could be next, or Coinbase for the Blue Carpet program. But nonetheless, the reason I want to pay attention to this is not because we need these exchanges in order for Dog to go to the moon. The fact is, Dog is holding strong because you guys and girls give it meaning. You guys and girls, just like what Bitcoin is, give it meaning and value. And that just surpasses all these other tokens that have VCs, insiders, and market makers to create artificial volume. Because if you notice anything, that Dog doesn't have that much trading volume than any of these other meme coins. And that's mainly due to a couple things. Number 1, less tier 1 centralized exchange listings. And number 2, we don't use market makers. So even notice that Mog, Mew, Popcat, and Peanut, they may have more trading volume, but they actually have a lower market cap. It's because their volume, their trading volume on a daily basis is artificial. That's what market makers do. So if there's anybody online saying, oh, you know, Dog doesn't have as much trading volume as these other tokens, well, maybe those people don't really understand what market makers do. And now you're educated, know how Dog is still sustaining its market cap, and it will continue to grow. And I guarantee you, it's going to be in the top 5 pretty soon. And when I mean pretty soon, I'm talking about this cycle. Yeah, this cycle's not over, ladies and gentlemen. It's still going. The 4-year cycle is done. We're now entering a new millennia of cycles for crypto. Now, in other exciting news, you're seeing that right now, Rosenbridge has announced that they're bridging Bitcoin meme coins over to Cardano, and they started doing their testing. So as you can see, they're doing testing with Bitcoin runes over to Cardano, and the first one that they have on here is Dog of the Moon. I think they have some other ones like Gizmo and Pups, and I want to look into that. So if you go to the Rosenbridge page, you can actually see that Dog of the Moon is here, and there's the Cardano contract address. And when you click on the specific icon, it'll take you here. And as you can see, it's Cardano scan, and it absolutely matches. So the 444F47, that's basically the last letters and digits of this contract address for Dog on Cardano. And then I went over to one of the more popular dexes, aka decentralized exchanges, called Miniswap. And this is mainly our Cardano DEX. So if you go down here to select token, you can type in RS-Dog. And what you'll see in there is that when you hover your mouse over there, it'll tell you the ticker symbol, which is 444F47. And then you selected it. So apparently, maybe you can actually switch up your Cardano and trade it for Dog. And this is basically not like really a wrap version. So what I've seen from the founder is that nobody should actually have a Dog ticker on a specific chain because it's not actually buying the underlying asset of a Bitcoin L1. This is why the company, aka Rosenbridge, put RS Dog rather than just Dog, so that you know you're buying something that's kind of like a synthetic version of the actual real version. So that's just something that I just noticed online. So this is the charting analysis for Dog Bitcoin. Now, what are we noticing here on the chart? Well, we're actually seeing kind of a reversal. Now, this is the first time we've actually seen in the extreme fear and greed index. So this is the extreme fear for Dog. So right now we've been in this extreme fear for quite some time, ever since the capitulation event that happened because of JP Morgan sending MicroStrategy down on their stocks, and Binance and Wintermute ended up manipulating the market. Well, you saw that was the very beginning of when Dog was in extreme fear. Yes, we went into just the fear neutral zone, but we went right back down. But look at this. We were in the extreme fear zone for quite some time. And look at this. We're seeing a massive pump, meaning we're stepping out of that extreme fear. And we're even seeing it in the MACD. And we could return to this trend line that's heading upwards to a buyer's market. And what I'm seeing here is that eventually this is going to break out. Okay, so meaning extreme fear is going to go to neutral and greed. Eventually the MACD is going to step into the buyer's market. Eventually Dog Bitcoin is going to step out of this descending trend line that's been happening since like July of this year. When that does happen, because we've seen massive resistance, when this does happen, if Dog is up here, oh my gosh, ladies and gentlemen, that's the beginning of a relief rally. I will look forward to this, absolutely. And this could absolutely be the thing that's going to melt faces. And don't forget, just around the corner, we have the quantitative tightening possibly ending on December 1st, which on my foresight is going to happen. Then what seems to be a no rate cut seems to be like it's going to be a 25 basis point rate cut. And that could be absolutely, absolutely exciting. So this is some up-to-date news and what we could expect in the month of December, because remember, Q4 is not over. We still have December, and that could be very positive for Bitcoin and crypto and also Dog. So ladies and gentlemen, you already know I'm very bullish on Dog Bitcoin. Dog right now is doing quite well, and I do expect that we are entering a relief rally. So this is why we tell people either hodl or accumulate. If you're emotional and selling things low, then you are the 99% that is not fit for cryptocurrency in general. Become part of the 1% that buys, accumulates, holds, and then sells and takes profit when we're reaching new all-time highs. Remember, you can take 10% here, 10% there. That's what makes you a better trader. If you sell on the low, you end up being the worst trader in crypto ever. And so that's why I've seen a lot of people who are so emotional that did not do this the right way. So let me know your thoughts down below, your strategy and how excited you are. And let me know your thoughts around the relief rally. And I cannot wait to read those in the comments. So go ahead and smash up that like button, subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to join us on X to receive all of our alpha calls and updates regarding Dog the Moon. Till then, see you guys and girls next time.